go.
Hello and welcome to another episode of West Underground. Today we are here and we are joined by the one, the only, the Large Mirage. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Very good.
Oh, that's the way. And you guys, you played a gig last night, I heard.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
it was
right.
quite last minute, but we joined Avalanche at the Vanguard, 2 days, before the gig. But no, we got there.
That's the way, man. That's the way to do it. And you've come out of our most recent little thing swinging. That's good. Was this the first gig in a while, or was this?
Yeah, we've actually been doing about a gig a month for the past couple of months. So we did come out of lockdown with a couple of gigs up our sleeve. Not up our sleeve, but a couple of gigs straight after. But then so we've just sort of been taking it as it comes, really. We've been doing a couple.
We've been pretty lucky because we sort of really formed at the start of COVID, and we've actually been able to keep quite a steady run of gigs going the whole time started with the Sunday set list really for us, and the whole time, even with some of the heavier restrictions, we've still been able to play the seated shows. And I think really for a band that started in COVID without any followers to begin with, we've done quite well to keep the gigs rolling the whole time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. If you're able to get a gig during this, I don't know, what would you even call it? This time in the world, that is massive props to you guys.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky, I feel.
Yeah.
Like a number of our gigs, we were just really on edge about what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has, not been the best experience, but in the end, it's worked pretty well. We managed to get some sort of momentum and following. Yeah, even though it's been pretty bad for our whole thing. So.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad that you boys have kept the train rolling throughout this. I'm just trying to imagine myself in your set of circumstances, starting a band and then the biggest pandemic to hit the world in the last, 80 years happens, and you guys have managed to keep it together, keep productive and, keep your sanity throughout the, this one-off 1 in 100-year event.
Yeah, we don't really know another way.
Yeah.
That's all we know.
Yeah, it is a bit of this is the reason we've kept our sanity to a degree, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, man.
Pretty much.
And shout out to Paul, for going last night and telling me about you guys and hooking this all up, You there, Paul?
Yeah, I'm here. I saw you guys first when you guys opened for Wicked Things about 2 months ago at the Highway Bikini Bar. And I was just hooked straight away. Just the guitar movement and the thunder of the drums from John Bonham on the stick. It's just looking at John Bonham, Hamish. He just plays like him. Unbelievable. There was a word going around on a gig that it's like Ringo Starr, but he played like John Bonham.
Look, hey, they're some of the best names out there. I'm not gonna say no, but I don't know about that.
You do hit them like John Bonham though, which is good.
Yeah, I see the Ringo mustache you've got going there, man.
Yeah, it's been very unintentional. I grew the hair out and then thought, no, I'll give a mow a go. And I had a guy come up last night and say, wow, you play a lot of Bonham licks, and then you've got the Bonham look as well. And I'm like, oh my god, this has not been planned, but it's worked out that way.
Yeah, man, the greatest drummers have mustaches. What's the go there? Does it help with the drumming?
Yeah, it's aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, if you don't bring your brushes, you can just get down there with your mustache.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty gold.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique sound.
Bonham played with his hands. Daniel played with his face.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh man, well, in the guitar world, that's what Hendrix did, but with his teeth. But I suppose you're bringing it one step further.
Yeah. I don't know if I could play guitar with my mow. I can't do it with my hands. So, but drums, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, why not, man? Be the first. Be original. Be yourself.
I think I think that would be something to see. I think people would talk about that if like one big crash, you just went for it with the face.
If I could get an audible enough noise, why not? I'd give it a go, but I don't know. We'll see.
Just brush it against the microphone.
That'll work. That'll work. Yeah.
Bit of mid-gig ASMR.
Yeah.
You'd have to do it at the end, man, because it'd be a showstopper from sure. You'd have to, it'd be a real showstopper if you didn't gain consciousness and you'd accidentally knocked yourself out. Then, because the show would be stopped.
Yeah, if we get called for an encore, then that's what I'll do. Mo solo.
Yeah.
Fangs ripped the strings out of the guitar to end the show. I think you should just jump into a snare drum or something with your moustache.
Oh man, if I could afford to, strange. You know what? Why not?
Yeah.
It depends how well the gig's paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you don't want your head to go through the snare.
If we get a bonus for broken drum heads flamboyantly, absolutely, I'll do it.
Awesome.
Nice. Any drum sponsors out there?
Just make sure it's not the house toms. They'll be pretty dirty.
Yeah, no, I'll use my own if people are going to give me drum heads. Go for it.
Yeah.
If you're sponsored by it, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And like one other question I don't think we've touched on yet. We went straight into the heavy questions, but like, how did you guys meet and how did you guys form?
Well, Blake and I met through we were in a band together. Maybe you'd be better off explaining that, Blake.
Yeah, so I had my personal project before Large Mirage called the Moonshakes. And I just knew Collier, you join these Facebook groups and whatnot, and he's sort of fairly local at the time. He was in the mountains, and I knew of Collier pretty much, and I got him on board playing with the Moonshakes for a while, and things sort of changed with that. And then I'll leave it to Collier after he was done with the Moonshakes.
Yeah, well, So yeah, we've been in the Moonshakes. Well, I'd been in the Moonshakes for a little bit, and we had done a mini tour and stuff. And I sort of wanted to get my own project on the road, which I've been trying to do for a while. Actually, like a pretty long time before that, but had really struggled, to sort of get any sort of momentum going with it. But yeah, then when I was with the Moonshakes, I saw Blake as such a good fit, for the whole vibe that I was looking for. And so yeah, we got chatting about it, and so we decided to get something going, and then we did a bit of a carousel of drummers until this is just before the first lockdown in 2020, and then that lockdown happened, and so coming out of that lockdown, I'd known of Daniel because I had jammed with one of his friends. I didn't know him personally, but I got in touch with him through one of these Facebook groups as well. He got in touch with me actually, or something. I can't remember.
One of the two.
Yeah. And so he came and jammed with us, and we just hit it off straight away as a three-piece. And it was just like, at that moment, it was like, well, this is it. This is going to be the basic core of our band. So we did that, and then we'd actually released a single with a different drummer before Daniel joined, a guy called Bailey Brown, and Daniel joined us as a permanent band member shortly after, and then we started playing gigs really quickly as well. And then it just happened. So yeah, that's basically the story.
And really, I would just like to comment on how perfect it kind of felt as well when it first started. Like, we played with Bailey, and Bailey's a killer drummer, and we rehearsed with a guy named Ethan, and like, it all felt good. It was all, quite capable music, but just the chemistry of when Daniel joined us and having those common kind of influences and having that same sort of style, and I remember that first rehearsal and just being like, if I'm allowed to say it, yeah, fuck, this is, yeah. Like he kind of finished smashing away, had a couple Mo splashes, and we're like, yeah, all right,
Yeah,
this is good.
Yeah, I mean, when I remember coming in, I heard demos that Collier had sent me, and it was with Bailey drumming, and I thought, oh god, this guy's really, really good. I'm gonna have to just do my best and see what I can do. And as soon as we started jamming, it was like, wow, this is the music I listen to. This is what I want to do, and these guys are fantastic at it. And yeah, straight away with improvisational stuff and everything like that, it just worked. And so yeah, more and more so that's gotten better as you play with people more and more. But from the start, there was definitely a great synergy.
Yeah, well, that's something good, man. Hold on to that and just write it as far as you can.
Yeah.
And like who are you guys influenced by?
Oh well, I mean,
just look at him, Hamish. Look at him.
That's it.
Oh no, he's got fantastic hair, Paul.
Well, look at all of us. You can't see our pants.
There's
What
a
we're wearing
painting on the
exactly,
wall
but-
behind him.
Yeah. Well, we're very, very heavily 60s and 70s oriented. I grew up with 60s music, basically like 60s pop and sort of. But the thing I really gravitated towards was the late 60s psychedelic rock and roll bands, and yeah, so that's kind of all of us really together. We're just influenced by those guys like Hendrix and Cream, Led Zeppelin, huge obviously, The Who, Deep Purple. It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the best stuff.
I was gonna say we could start on the names, and I'm sure we could all name. This podcast will go for well too long if we begin to name what those influences are, but there's little bits and pieces that obviously as a musician we each take in little parts of as you do, you compile your influences and you put your own thing on it. But yeah, it's all that era, very much just a lot of everything. And as you've seen in our set, we go into like those swing 12-bar blues kind of pieces that feel almost more like a Canned Heat or like a 10 Years After sort of sped up thing. We've done jams that people have said sound like ZZ Top, like it's sort of all of that. We all each have our own little piece, as you do, and it just works.
Nice, guys. Like that. That's the best. That's the best time period of music, in my opinion, to be influenced from, and just in general to listen to. It's just the best. But have you found as well? Like, is it hard being a three-piece, or is it easier being a three-piece because you've got less people to rely
on? If I can comment, my previous band, the Moonshakes, when Collier joined us, we were kind of fluctuating between 5 and 7-piece band, and Collier's guitar was just a bit too busy for a bigger band. It's sort of thing where like everyone has their own little piece and it's really simple and it works together. But I could see from when Collier started playing, like he takes up a lot of space, and that's why it really works. We all need to take up a lot of space, so that's why I think it's really freeing for me. Being new to bass as well, sort of just picking up bass for Large Mirage. I've got a lot of space to fill, so it gives me a lot of space for creativity to just go.
And that's just it. Like we all get to showcase quite a lot because there is that space. And like again, there's like an ebb and flow that kind of moves around throughout like a track or whatever. But as a result, I think the more members, like you can absolutely, and again, it depends on the project. Like it's a very general statement to say it, but like too many chefs, I think, can be a thing. But I think with 3, it's worked brilliantly. Yeah,
I reckon 3 is hard because you've either got not enough Indians and too many chiefs, or too many Indians and not enough chiefs. It's either it's a 50-50 battle. But if it's working for you guys, that's amazing. And I mean, I always think like when somebody's a 3-piece band, it also must be great too because there's less gear to lug to the venue.
Oh, and there's less people to do it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But no, we've never had too much drama there.
Yeah. Well, that's fucking fantastic, man. And like, and who writes the songs in your band? Like, do you all do it as a three, or is it one guy coming to the band and going, I got a song? And you kind of flesh it out with each other, or you kind of going, all right, boys, let's write a song and start that way.
I think it's predominantly Collier, I would say. He comes to us with ideas, and like we'll end up jamming them out and stuff like that. But I mean, I'll let Collier talk about it. He's definitely the guy writing a lot of these tunes.
Yeah, well, it sort of started off like that because it sort of started off as sort of more as my sort of passion project. So it was I was sort of bringing songs to the group, and it was my song that we first recorded and stuff. And I suppose that still is mostly the case now. Like, but we have done we have written together a fair, and like a lot of our songs, like a lot of the songs that I bring to the band, like they're very incomplete. So like it really, like it's more just like a springboard for ideas that we can come up with as a group. And so I mean that sort of has seemed to become more of a trend. And we have written one or two songs completely as a group, starting off as a sort of group jam and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're sort of doing that more and more. Yeah. But most of our set right now is sort of my, like, started as my songs. Yeah.
And it tends to be like those two tracks that were sort of written as a group were sort of, when we're rehearsing, and we tend to get a bit carried away with improvising, and somewhere in there when something sticks, there's a riff, there's whatever kind of, at the most basic sense of a song, there's something there that we recall to begin the next song. It seems to be that it's just those improvisations where someone plays something and it really makes sense, and we build off that.
That's the way to do it. Just jam until you find a little nugget of gold, and then then go mining.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think that's the most. Oh, sorry, Paul. You go, mate.
All right, I was just gonna say, I also like the fact that the two of you sing in the same song too. So you take like verse by verse, and you both exactly sound the same as well. So it's just a great, it just sounds like the same person. But last night there was I think there was like 2 or 3 songs where you both sung like one verse each, and it just sounded the same. And I thought that was like a really good idea. So everyone has a share work into all the songs.
Yeah, well, this is a discussion we're having the other night with Colin, who's just discussing that I'm probably, of the three, the least capable to sing, but we have 3 capable enough singers that have some sort of different characteristics or different tonal qualities. And Collier was just expressing how that's something that we should play on more. Like Paul said, it's great to see, a few different vocalists, and I'm not saying that it is the case at all with a band that has a single vocalist, but just to let there be those different tonal qualities, different timbres of vocal throughout the set.
Are you doing harmonies yet, boys, or are you still working on it?
Well,
it's a tender point.
I mean, we're trying to be Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yeah.
But yeah, we actually do a fair few harmonies in our songs. Live it's harder.
For sure.
So I can't say that we're a harmony based band.
Yeah.
But we do. Yeah, I mean, we love harmonies. And although none of us is like truly proficient as vocalists, we really enjoy that aspect of performance. That sound and everything. So we do a fair bit of harmonies live. We're hoping in the studio they'll come out better.
Yeah.
Well, even when we're rehearsing, like we'll practice harmonies, and occasionally we'll be like, oh, okay, that sounded great. And then once it goes on stage and you're playing your instrument as well and stuff like that, it goes a little bit. But it's something we're working on.
Do any of you boys have stairs in your house?
I do currently.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, when you're home, invite the boys over, and I think that's probably the best way to practice. Or if you've got one of you has like a massive bathroom or a room with nothing in it, and you can all kind of hear your voices echo together, or just anywhere where there's heaps of reverb, I think is probably the best place to start.
You're right.
Because it sounds a little bit more forgiving if you've got a bit of reverb in there.
That's true. That's true.
And then you get your confidence up a little bit if you're wanting to start. That's anyone who I've talked to who's got fantastic harmonies amongst each other. I'm like, how do you do it? And that's the secret.
I actually was speaking to his name's Perry. He does the Chippendale Hotel. He does the audio there. But he mentioned the idea to me, which is a great idea, but I think will also look very strange. Is he said having your vocals in the monitor pretty strong and not much out of front of house. And he said that way you can practice your harmonies live without just destroying the song. But I think it would be real strange to see a guy up on the microphone belting it out and nothing coming out of front of house. I think everyone would look at each other like, what's wrong here?
Oh man, you never know unless you try, I suppose.
I will say, like just commenting on the sound last night at the gig last night, it was one of the few times where I thought I can actually really, really hear my voice very, very clearly. And as a result, like, I think they were a bit sharper. So I think that's always a thing at a live gig. Depending where you're playing, you're going to get venues where your ability to hear yourself sing is not going to be great, unless you got like your own monitors and stuff like that, which, baby steps. But I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. How do you play drums and sing, man? Like,
struggle. It's like generally the bits where I'm singing is where the drumming really dies down quite a lot, so that helps a lot. But it's hard. It is hard.
That's during the cover song you guys play, don't you? Will you sing during that cover song?
Everyone's a Winner.
Everyone's a Winner. Oh, you sounded good. It was good.
Thank you, man.
That's a good version. Yeah.
We were mucking around with it in a jam session, and Collier was like, God, it's a shame this is a disco tune. It's such a good riff.
I didn't say that.
Disco tune, is it? Wow.
Someone else said that. I was just repeating it.
No, he was playing around with the riff, and it sounded fantastic. So it just turned into a jam, as it always does. Yeah. And we were like, we should run this. We should genuinely give it a go. And the response has always been really, really good.
Yeah.
You get people singing along, and we've done it a couple of times at Frankie's, for example, where the crowd's gone nuts for it.
Yeah, it's a song you don't really hear that gets covered, and that's why it sounds better when it does get heard.
Yeah,
because you always get the generic songs that are covered, like, oh yeah, I've heard this one before, and it's good when it's a good version. But when you hear a cover song that it rarely gets heard, it's more exciting.
You hear it's the bright side. I hear very, very often. And
I'm glad I don't hear that stuff. Oh.
Yeah. So you don't. So we're not going to expect a psychedelic version of Mr. Brightside anytime soon.
There's not enough guitar parts for Coolio.
I was going to say,
there's no guitar part, and everyone's a winner. Actually, there is. Never mind. There's a riff, but not a solo. Yeah. Put a solo in there anyway. Doesn't matter.
Your solos are a riff.
Yeah.
Oh man, but Collier, this one's just for you, mate. Like, Collier, how do you how many guitars do you have, mate?
How many? I own one.
You own one?
At the moment, yeah.
Oh, dude. I thought you were going to have like a full collection. I thought it was good.
No, well, I splurged on the one guitar that I have. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice.
I have a couple of acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
With I suppose you should own a good guitar. Like, acoustic guitar is the guitar that I play the most. I think you should sort of own a good one.
Yeah.
Or the guitar that you play the most, I suppose. But yeah, no, my guitar is solitary. It actually got me into trouble at Frankie's Pizza last month because I broke a string in the first song and didn't have a replacement. But fortunately, a guy from the band who played before us lent me his guitar. for the rest of the
Hamish
set.
did that twice. Hamish did that twice at 2 different gigs.
Yeah, man, that's not a fun place to be in.
Mm.
No, but it's all right. Got there.
Yeah. You don't realize how much one string makes a difference until it's gone.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, I've broken strings so many times in live shows. Like I should know better than to just bring one guitar.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. You must be heavy-handed, man, as well.
Heavy-handed. I pick really hard.
Yeah.
I use
mean.
really light strings as well. So yeah.
What are you using? What gauge? 9s or 10s?
9s.
9s, yeah.
I used to use 8s. But
fuck that. You just have a hair on your fingers at that point.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I've got like little, very narrow fingers, so I can feel 8s.
Yeah.
And 9s seems to be like a good medium, but somehow I still break them anyway. I hit pretty hard.
Nice. I think that's the way to do it, man. That you're like me in the sense now for picks, you're using hard picks like the jazz picks.
Well, I don't really own any. I sound like really stingy. I mean, I am, but like my pick collection is just no. I use a pick when playing guitar, but none of the picks that I use are mine, strictly speaking.
You're like the lighter thief, but instead of a lighter, you're stealing picks.
They just appear in my wallet. I'm not really stealing them. I don't know, like what. But yeah. So in other words, I do have installments. I have a preference of gauge or of width or whatever you call on a pick.
Yeah.
But I, for some reason, haven't invested the time in just going out to the shop and spending $5 on a bag of picks that are my gauge.
Dude, just do it. Just do it. Just go to the shop, spend
now after this
$50 and get
I've been
all the
shamed
gauges.
about it.
Yeah.
If we can promote on the podcast what gauge of picks Collier plays, and we can line up a few gigs with bands with guitarists that play the same gauge, we'll be good for
I like something in between 0.8 and 1. I'm not that picky. Probably 1 is on the heavier side. 1 millimeter is on the heavier side.
There you go.
There you go, everyone.
We'll start booking the gigs.
Nice. Man, look, just do yourself a favor after this, man, and go to any music shop and take $100 in and get yourself every like that. I did this at one point. I just was like, you know what? I'm going to work out which one works for me. I'm going to buy a bag of each of them and just go and narrow it down until I find one that I'm like, this is the one, and do it, and you'll figure it out.
I'm inclined to take your advice now.
Yeah.
Definitely after Frankie's Pizza.
Yeah.
We'll usually have a conversation like over Facebook or whatever. It'll be like, oh, do you have a pick? Like Blake will say to Collier or vice versa. And like last night it worked out because Avalanche was selling picks. So it was like worst comes to worst, you can buy one. But no, they managed. It was all good.
Nice. And then you can imagine if you bought one of Avalanche's and in the future you guys become a big band and you throw your pick into the crowd and they catch
an Avalanche one.
Yeah,
I've got one as well from the last time I saw him as well. I got one of the picks too. I was just giving him away. Once day. Just a wicked thing. Saying, "Hey guys, here you go, take the stickers." I was in charge of their store at the Vanguard last time, and I was just every time one of the Wicked Things boys, I'm like, here you go, take a sticker. Just giving everything away. And then I said to Veronica, I'm like, I did this. She goes, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's advertising us anyway. I'm like, yes, no worries.
There you go. At least it's not like, a T-shirt or something, just a pic or a sticker.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do shirts. I'll do like the little things, Not that silly.
I was concerned for your safety then, because I know those guys like listened to us, and I was like, Paul, if they hear you giving away all this shit, they're not going to get you to do it again, mate. You're ratting on yourself.
Reality is about like 2 or 3 things. I was more advertisement for them.
Yeah.
All right, now the truth comes out.
I told them. They know about it. I asked for permission.
We're only teasing you, Paul.
Wink, wink. I know.
Anyway, now I'm intrigued, Collier. What was the guitar you splurged on? Sorry for the rest of you guys. I'm just.
Oh no.
Well, Oh no, my guitar is a pretty interesting piece of equipment. It's a Gibson SG special from 1969.
Yeah.
So it's pretty. It's actually pretty uncommon now. I don't know where they all are. I think Pete Townsend destroyed all of them. That's my theory.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might be able to guess why I bought it from that sentence. But there was just a guy. I was looking for something from that era. I really like the SGs because you can get up high, with a double cutaway, basically. But the tone from that era, it's like I'm pretty certain it's not in my head, but vintage guitars sound better.
Yeah.
So and I just found one, actually. The keyboardist from Maruja Joe. I don't know if they're sort of a psych band, was selling one, and so that you might be able to say that's the reason why I only own one guitar, but it serves me so well, and it's versatile, and but has a tone that's really identifiable as well.
Didn't you say, Collier, how did the guy from Maruta Joe get the guitar? For some kind of context, didn't he trade his car for that guitar or something?
Yeah, something like that. I think he said. I think he
bought
said.
it for less.
I think he said that the guy who owned it didn't really know what it was or something. So I think he got a good deal.
Yeah.
All right.
I think some money went his way.
Yeah.
Even.
Well, man, look, I was tempted to do the same thing. I saw a White Falcon and a 335, and I was like, man, I how much do I need this car?
That's it.
Is walking that bad?
No, it isn't.
I'll trade you my car for a 335 and a push bike.
Yeah.
No, I'm lucky. I have a car and a really good guitar.
He's winning.
Good.
Winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, he saved not buying picks to buy a guitar.
There you go.
Win-win.
That's exactly why I don't have any picks. That's exactly it.
Oh man, that's great. What color did you get? Did you get it with the Bigsby or did you get it without?
No, so it actually comes back. It came factory, with a Maestro Vibrola arm.
Yeah.
But it's been taken out years gone by. They only did a cherry red color.
Yeah.
That's the only color that it came in, but it's not really cherry red anymore.
Yeah.
So actually, I've seen other guitars the same model, and they're all pretty cherry red still, but this one seems to have faded, and it's like one of the only ones that has faded this much. So it's sort of a darker, more browny, walnutty red, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the lights, it's cherry red.
It's been gigged, yeah? Like it's been gigged around, yeah?
Like before me.
Yeah, heaps.
It's pretty beaten. So I would say so. Yeah, a lot of buckle rash, a lot of a lot of scratches and stuff, and also sort of the lacquer is sort of
brownie.
Like it's sort of it's not like it's sort of got cracks. It's not cracked, but it's like got sort of lines in it and stuff. So I mean, I don't really care. It sounds good.
Yeah. No, I bought an old Les Paul, and this is so off topic, but the reason the color is that way, I did some like heavy research and just went and asked a bunch of people until I was like, why does it look like this when the others look like this? Anyway, he said cigarette smoke. Like if your guitar was gigged, that from the age, like the smoke,
really?
And that's why the binding changes color as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Have you got it behind you, Hamish? Is that the one behind you, Hamish? You able to bring it up to the camera?
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed, because it
looks
that
really
with
nice.
vintage
really
drums
good
as well.
There's a lot of light on
able
at
to
the
see
moment, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, I just got a bit excited there. Yeah. Yeah, right. Cigarette smoke. I actually didn't know. I thought it was more to do with the sun. I mean, that's probably a pretty stupid
Well,
guess. I don't know if he
probably
leaves their
both.
guitar in the
Probably
sun.
both. Probably
Yeah,
both. To
both.
be
Well, I think
honest.
it would, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking about it. Who would leave their guitar in the sun that much? I don't think many. I think it's more likely to be cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
cigarette
Or
smoke
cooler.
if they're indoors, sunlight if they're outdoors.
Yeah. And sunlight
Yeah.
if you've got it in front of a window too. Like if you,
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
bet all the guitar players who are listening to this are going to be like frothing at this conversation. And then anyone else who plays any other instrument is going to be like, I'm fucking
Fuck those
pissed.
guys.
Let's get on to drums and bass. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Nice. What are you playing, man? Have you put it like a part kit together, or you've got a stock standard?
So I bought a shell pack. It was actually a gift for when I was in like, I don't know, year 10 or something. I did really well in an exam or something. My parents were like, no, I'm gonna get you a shell pack. And it's kind of like
It was all downhill from there.
yeah. I was like, well, now I've got this. I don't need to go to school anymore. But I got this kit, and it's like Ludwig, which is like, you get all the big drummers from the US and UK in the 60s and 70s playing Ludwig Premier, or I'm trying to think of the other one, like Slingerland, or anyway. And I was a Zepp head. I listened to Zeppelin since I was 12, and I was like, I gotta get a Ludwig. So they brought out this Club Date, which is like, they had them in the 60s. They were very popular as a student kit, but they brought out a reissue one, and they were going to discontinue it because it was outselling their US models. So they were like, all right, we got to stop. So I was lucky to get my hands on one, and it's been fantastic. It really has. And then I spent a bit of money on some cymbals. I still got some crappy ones. And then my snare I bought from a guy in Perth, and it's from 79. And the thing with vintage drums is they're just not in this country. They're all in the US. And if you want to get stuff from the US, shipping fees are in the thousands if you get the whole kit. It's insane. So at the moment, it's like, if I see something I really like, I kind of got to capitalize. But with what I've got at the moment, I'm really, really happy. Super versatile tuning, but I usually keep it nice and down low and fat. So, but it's brilliant. I love it.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Nice. I like stories about, putting in how finding out what instruments people play. It's always interesting.
Yeah.
And it's weird that all the vintage drums are in the US, but it makes sense at the same time. Like, because I imagine there would be, people out here playing music back in the day, but I wonder where they've all gone.
Like you see photos all the time of people with these, like, oh yeah, this is me, I played this gig in my high school in 71, and this was the house kit, and it was like the school's kit, and it's like this now a kit you'd probably fetch $4,000 for. Like, oh, it's just bashed up old kit. I'll buy it if it's bashed up and old. I'll take it. Thanks. Yeah. But there's a guy out west called Kentville Drums, and he makes kangaroo hide drum heads and restores old drums and stuff. And you always see stuff like that going through him. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. But
where you'd probably find them, like, is like on Facebook Marketplace when people are like cleaning, people's houses and stuff like that, and they find this drum kit and they go $50, and they just have no idea.
It's, you do occasionally see it. I nearly bought, again from Perth, there was a guy selling this old vintage 70s Vistalite kit, which are those see-through acrylic ones, which they're gorgeous. But he knew what he had.
Oh, okay.
But if I do see stuff pop up,
so it wasn't quite that example.
No. If you do see stuff pop up real cheap, it's gone in seconds. And then you see people share, like, oh, I just scored this snare drum that over here you'd probably spend $800-900 on. I found it at a Goodwill or whatever for $80. I want this luck. I want to find this. I want to go to Vinnie's and walk out a vintage collector.
Yeah, dude, you just gotta go all the time. Just be on the search for it, and you'll find something. But now we're on to bass. Now in vintage, what are you playing? Have you got like a Fender?
I'd like to join the vintage chat in instruments. I could talk about amps and other sorts of things, but was originally a guitar player for 10 or so years, till Collier started his project and he needed a bass player. I will not lie, in years past as a guitarist, I hated the bass. I hated playing it. I think because we had an irritating bass player in our band in high school. He would never stop playing when we're trying to converse. So the instrument annoyed me a lot. I loved it in a band, but I didn't like playing. It was too big. But I started with Collier and I was able to, being quite poor, I was able to borrow my bassist's, he has a SG bass, 120th anniversary, I think it was 2012. And I was lucky enough to let me use that for a while, which I think was kind of a cool look for a little while with the two SGs on stage. But I really liked that bass, partially because it was short scale. So it was a nice little stepping stone into bass. I found, I did really like it, but I found that the tone with it, the low notes were very deep and woolly, and the like higher up the fretboard, once you get onto your G up around that 12th, was very like nasally, sort of lost all of its low end, which was definitely useful at times, but it just didn't have much of a continuity with tone up and down the fretboard. And with the way that I play with these guys, it kind of, there was some times where it wasn't quite working, but I was able to find a secondhand Epiphone Jack Cassidy signature. It was Jefferson Airplane, and it's served me really well. It's been really beautiful. It's full scale, but got it in the gold, which is really nice, and it's got on it an impedance attenuator switch, which I knew nothing of before. But
what's that?
It's so with like electronics and impedance, how like your ohms with your amp and matching your head, it changes the impedance. So it's only a single pickup, but it actually changes the impedance of the pickup, which I never knew is like such a great deal of the tone of that pickup. So it's got 3 selections. At one end, it's got that SG, that depth, woolliness. And at the other end, it sounds almost like an acoustic bass that's got like a internal microphone. It's got very much like an acoustic character. So it's, for a guitar with a single pickup, it's super versatile, and I've been enjoying it.
Nice, man. I like that. That's cool. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. And like the guy who owned it didn't even know, and he had 2 of them. He wanted the Polaris white, and they didn't have any, so he just grabbed a gold in the meantime. And then once he got his white, he was just getting rid of this, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what this switch is. I just usually keep it in the middle." I was like, "Are you kidding, man? You bought 2 of these things."
Just keep it in the middle.
Yeah, but I think as well, Collier and I could probably talk a bit about, we've got some vintage heads between the pair of us. Collier, again, splurged. He's only got one head. He's got a combo, but he's got one head that he's splurged on. And I've got a head that I would like to use live, but it's got no direct out for start, and it was the Fender PA series, and it's really hard to match with a lot of cabs that I find in venues. Yeah. So I don't have a bass head, but when we get to use that when we're rehearsing, just getting that valve, just pushing the valves in that on the bass is, I'm looking forward to being able to use it live. The day will come.
Nice, man. And Collie, what did you splurge on?
Blake's wrong. I have 2 heads. One I splurged on, one I got for nothing.
The Arbiter.
Yeah, exactly.
Forgot about the Arbiter.
Yeah, the Arbiter. It's because it hasn't been used in a little while. It's right over there, but it's a bit heavy. I'm not going to bring it out. It's a Dallas, like there was a brand in the 60s and 70s which mainly made pedals called Dallas Arbiter, and they were also an amp company, and then they transitioned into Soundhouse, which then became High Watt or something.
Okay,
I don't know, but High Watts are now famous.
I've got a High Watt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're like that really like sort of that mid-range kind of really rhythm. Yeah. No, I really like those sort of that yeah, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
kind of tone. And so this amp, it's called a Soundhouse. Oh, I got it wrong. What the other, doesn't matter. Anyway, this amp's called an Arbiter Soundhouse. But this guy, I was in a band before I met either of these guys.
Yeah.
And I played, and this guy who owns all these amps and is like a amp repairman.
Yeah.
His name's Tim Mason, was at my gig, and he was like, I've got this amp that I have to repair, but I'm like sick of it being in my garage. I want you to have it. I didn't know him, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I gave him my number, and he called me a couple of weeks later. He's like, oh, I'm coming on the mountains. I'll drop into your place. And he gave me this. It's from early 70s.
No.
And a cab with it as well, 412 from some. I need help with this. So if anyone's listening to this, comment if they know anything about it. But apparently this cab, this 4x12 cab, it has no name on it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's from a company. He said it's a company that was based in Brookvale. So if anyone knows what that company might have been, an amp or cab company from Brookvale in the 70s, please let me know. But I splurged on a early 70s Marshall J&P, 100-watt super lead. So that was my splurge that Blake's talking about.
How much did that set you back, man?
It was $3,000. But put it this way, in 5, I mean, that's really cheap.
Yeah, that is. I was expecting you to go to 5 or 6, and I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah, no. Well, it was on the market for that much, and then it kept going down.
Yeah.
Like I was just following it.
Yeah.
And then and at one point it got really low, and I was like, there's something, I don't know what is going on. Like there's lots of questions always when you're buying secondhand gear. But I met up with this guy over in, I can't remember where, it was out west. And he was just like, it's been on the market for a while, and there's something else that I really want right now. So if you can take it for this much. I was like, I played it. I was like, I just thought, in 10 years, it's going to be worth, I don't know how much.
Yeah.
10 grand. I don't know. Like, so I thought it's probably a good investment. And I haven't been able to use it on stage yet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just too loud.
Yeah.
But when we start playing bigger stages, it'll come out then.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. That is awesome. I think that's as close as you can get to buying like a Marshall Plexi or something like that. Well,
it pretty much, that's the thing. It's 1971, so it's like apparently, like I don't really know much about amps, but I looked it up at the time. Apparently, like the way Marshall was building amps, it basically just changed gradually over the years. So the model like J&P is basically the model that succeeded the Plexi, but because it's 1971, it's not that different from the 1969 Plexi. So as you go through the 70s, they get further and further away from that. I don't know if they're better or worse, but and so and I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference if I'm being honest, but to me it sounds amazing. Yeah. So it's pretty much that. You know what you'll have to do is you need to buy like a single cab with one speaker or two speakers, so that way you can use it. Well, I know. That I have thought about that. I don't know how.
Like a volume attenuator, I think you can get, can't you? I don't know how much they affect tone and that sort of thing. But
But they're meant to be a good way of getting it quieter without affecting tone much. I think that's what they're meant to for. So I would want the one speaker, me personally, because that way you're not getting that way you can still drive the fuck out of it, but it's not as loud as driving 4 speakers. And I mean, speakers are most of the sound. like if you have heaps and heaps of speakers, like it doesn't have to be loud. It's just going to sound big, you know. So you're right about that. But also the head's quite large, and it'll look weird.
Oh yeah, it'll look so dumb. But at least you can play it more and bring it around. But I would just get it. Find some guy who's selling like a little 1-speaker cab, get it, and then gut it and put like a Gold Marshall Celestion speaker in there, and you'll be away.
Yeah, I have thought of a couple of ways that I could use it live, but I think for the time being, none of them are really that realistic at any of the venues that we're playing.
But for recording as well, that way you can record in the studio without the walls, you know, feeling like they're about to crumble on you too.
Yeah,
be in the same room.
True. Yeah, although we have had some like really good tones come out of it just through blasting it through 4x12. Like it. Yeah, getting in the studio like that is really good. It's a good way of getting like a pretty authentic sound from, you know, the 60s or 70s.
Yeah,
as well. So.
But if you're in the same room as it, you're going to go deaf.
It's
I'm not in rehearsals. I face it to the wall.
Oh, okay.
And then wear earplugs, and then just hope for the best.
It is loud. When he first got it, and we were like, okay, how close can we get to it starting to, you know, distort, and like we're turning it up, nothing. It was just getting loud, really loud.
It's just got the single volume as well. It's just got the master volume, so there's no pushing it in a preamp. It's just you've got to push the master, and it just gets louder. You can't break it up without it being mega loud.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly the issue. Yeah, but it's. I think if it had a master volume in it, the value would go down heaps. That's usually the thing that devalues these things.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't been modded in that way. And so I guess from a financial perspective anyway, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think I think it's it's good information you guys were giving out, just in case anyone was listening to that about amps and all that. So it's good advice to those who are listening.
Yeah. Take it. Yeah, it's uneducated advice, but
yeah. Oh, we never know. Maybe someone will pick it up.
From three partially deaf young men.
Oh yeah,
man, that's a good way to bring on tinnitus. Is to buy that fucking.
Yeah.
The people listening think that they're watching a mute video.
Well. I will say the one good thing about lockdown is that my ears healed. I remember going into a rehearsal just afterwards and leaving like I couldn't. There's no way I was doing this before. But my ears were pretty shot. So yeah, like hearing protection is the key there. Yeah, that's good consumer advice.
Yeah,
that's it.
I used to think it was so uncool to have earplugs in, and now I think if you don't have earplugs in, you're playing a dangerous game.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just looking forward, do you guys have like any future like releases and gigs coming up as well? Is any recordings happening in the future?
We're mucking around with a few demos of some of the songs that we were playing the other night. In terms of actual release, I think it's something we really, really want to do. But nothing exactly in hard concrete yet. But I think the songs that we're demoing are probably the ones we're looking at.
Yeah, we're definitely looking to release.
Yeah,
I mean, we have to release.
Yeah,
and we really do want to. Yeah, because we have a whole bunch of songs that we think are like can definitely be release worthy. Definitely at that point. I mean, it's not really. It's not an excuse, but it's just that it's sort of hasn't really come to fruition in the way that one would normally hope for it to happen organically. Like, you know, I'm talking about lockdown and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just like it's not just that, just the general rat race in between gigs as well. Like with everything that goes on, it's just it's difficult to sort of get that sort of thing going now. But we definitely bring that to more of a focus point for us.
I think like we're all each pretty capable of like being musicians and like recording things at home, and the songs have sort of grown in different ways as we've been recording them over time. And I think it's probably good, we'll get there, and hopefully it's in the near future. But there's definitely been some good ideas come out over the last, it's been a few months. We've been getting these demos together and just trying different things, different vocals, different instruments. And I think once we're ready to go in the studio, where and whenever that will be, they've been tried and tested quite a bit live, and the demos will be in a position where we can just get in there and we know what we're doing.
I think as well, like a release cycle would be great to follow, but for like, because we do really, really enjoy, I think, the live aspect, and I think developing an audience that is there for it, which is something that like all the time we're seeing that grow. I think that's been quite a priority for us as well.
Do all you boys live in the mountains, just out of curiosity?
No.
Well, none of us live in the mountains now.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was the only one who ever lived in the mountains. We seem to be getting people thinking that we're from the mountains. Actually, you're not the only one.
It's kind of cool. We'll just say, we're from out there. But I'm probably the closest, and for me, it's like a 20-minute drive to get to the mountains.
Have you done gigs up there though?
Yeah, we did one. It would have been just before the lockdown at the end of last year in Katoomba, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
People there just seemed to really, really, really get into it and really, really love the music, and that made it such an amazing gig. That was a really good night.
Yeah. I was gonna say to you boys, like, if you all live in the mountains, if I was you, I'd be focusing on the other side of the mountains, not the Sydney side, going out to Lithgow, Bathurst, Orange, Dubbo, going on the road trips and coming back over the thing. Because at least that way, like, you've got, like, because I don't know, whenever I go out there and you will go to pubs, it feels like people pay way more attention than they do in Sydney, especially.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that before COVID and stuff with previous projects.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my first gigs was in Lithgow. Yeah, exactly. Like it's different because they, like, with smaller towns, smaller communities, like the pub is that
the heart of the community.
Yeah. Well, in some places definitely. And also I'm aware of like a fair few sort of like owners who they pay money and they give accommodation and everything for the band that comes from Sydney or wherever, really. So it's like, it's actually it's a pretty good, like, you can definitely get some things out of it for sure.
Yeah. And if you do it on a Friday, you could book something close on a Friday, do something on a Saturday, and then kind of do a whole weekend trip, and you're done. Go to work Monday and act like you're not hungover.
that actually be real good fun.
Yeah, that's the life, boys.
I think that's what Parcels did something similar recently. It was really interesting to watch. They went out they did like a performance. It was a really funny thing to see. I work with a guy that does a bit of their sound, and their plan was sort of like, we've been going overseas and they've been doing all these big things, and they're like, we just want to get in a van. No, not against lighting guys, but none of the big production, none of all these guys. And they sort of just, I saw a video, they were out the front of Silverton Hotel, which is sort of near Broken Hill, like out in the desert, and they're all dressed like these funky city dudes, and they're just out the front of this like remote pub playing one of their funk songs. They did like they stopped like in the desert, I don't know where it was, somewhere out there, middle of nowhere, and they just like stood out in the field and did like an acoustic version of their song. It was really interesting to see a band like that just out in the middle of nowhere, sort of no one around, just playing just for the love of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And dudes, you will make the best content as well if you do that. Like, you've just got the best backdrops and no one there going, "Oh, you can't do that," And Yeah, I reckon that would be like, a cool thing to do if you guys were down for it. Because I mean, if you do that, then they treat you like rock stars when you go out there, like, because to them you're from Sydney. It's the life.
Yeah, well, that could go one of two ways, I think. They could just, I've been out west with my friends looking like a bunch of long-haired yahoos, and the locals. I was at a pub out west, and my friend's girlfriend asked him to go order a funky monkey for her, and he said, if I go in there and order a funky monkey, I probably won't come out alive. So I don't know. It could go one of two ways, but we'll be optimistic. I reckon it's a good idea.
There's no more funky monkeys.
Yeah.
Just BBs, mate. Like,
yeah.
I bet it'll definitely give you the best stories of your life. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like we in one of my old bands, we went on tour up the coast, and we wanted to do Byron Bay, but Byron Bay was hard to get into, and we weren't huge by any means. We were quite small, and so we did Mullumbimby, which is just next door. But Mullumbimby is one street pretty much. So we stayed in the pub. There was a pub on the other side of the street that we played at, and the crowd, even though it was one of the most energetic crowds we had on this little tour, it consisted of a couple of locals and the other band and their girlfriends, but they went nuts for it. And it was a really, really good time because we went back to the pub where we were staying, had drinks and, hung out and whatever. It was actually really, really good fun. It was the last show we did of the tour. But yeah, I really did kind of like talking to locals and stuff like that, doing it. It was actually quite a good time, but yeah, it was weird. It was very odd. That was a very strange tour completely, really, but yeah.
Nice. But that's awesome. At least you got a good story out of it, man. And I think that's the thing. If nothing else comes, you've got these fucking memories that are just, great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it was great fun,
dude. And like, you didn't miss out on playing much in Byron. Like I think unless you're playing Splendor there or you're playing a festival, it's all a bit of a,
yeah. I think at the time I had it in my head, and I think we all did in that group, where we were like, oh yeah, we play Byron, everyone's crazy about it and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I've heard since that was just, it's a tourist town now.
Yeah, go to Nimbin and play that gig.
I'd love to play Nimbin. I reckon that'd be a riot.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to learn like fire dancing.
Yeah. Dude, that's
do a drum circle.
Yeah. Or wear face paint. I'll do that.
That is a place where you can do anything you want and they won't question you too much.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Large Mirage and Nimbin. Let's do it.
Yeah. Use more as well. You can do that as well.
Oh, yeah. So like anywhere in the Northern Rivers or
you just can't cross the border. They won't let you. But anywhere up north, you can do it, man.
I reckon we could do like the Who on The Simpsons, and we could get like right on the border. We can finally bring the JMP out, and we'll just blare it to Queensland.
Yeah, dude, if you did that, you would go viral tomorrow. You would make
mop on the head
content.
Yeah.
Good idea, Blake.
Yeah, find. I don't know where that line is, but is it a river? Is it a river it follows? We'll get on one side of the river. I don't know, but they'll hear it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Specifics aren't important yet.
I wish all the musos would do that and just blast music at each other across the line.
Yeah, Border Fest.
Yeah, that's an dude. If you could make that happen, you'd be a millionaire.
That's such a nice name. That's a good.
It rolls off the tongue.
Dude, trademark that name tomorrow. If someone listens to that, they're going to steal it.
Oh, yep, done.
Border Fest.
Where was that dude? Where was that guy that looked like Slash and he got arrested for playing in his underwear in his garage?
Oh, that's South Australia.
Yeah, everything was locked down and he
that's right.
Complaining because he was doing those rock concerts out of his garage in his underwear.
That was in the first lockdown.
That's ridiculous. I never heard about that.
Yeah, he went viral for a while and then it ended up like going to shit. But it was even more rock and roll that he got dragged out of his garage in his underwear.
That's the dream right there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Slash.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know, but he was singing too, man. The balls on that guy to open up your door on your garage in front of all your neighbors and just go out there and go, "Oh, you want some rock and roll?" and just start playing your guitar, you know, in your underpants, like
Tidy whities as well. There was and his Converse, of course.
Yeah,
Tidy whities and Converse.
You got to be decent.
Yeah.
So the plan is like we go to Tweed Heads, scream over the border. You Queenslanders get a piece of this. This is rock and roll.
Yeah. But
Maybe
set up a camera before you do it. Don't do it without the camera. If you do it without the
quickly
camera,
run over
you
onto
lose
the other
everything.
side. Set up a camera on that side, one behind us, and then we're sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do it after the third Origin when we take it out again, boys.
That's the one.
Oh man.
3-0 this year.
Yeah, when they're left with nothing
Surely,
again.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
And make sure you don't let it go on too long too, because you don't want the New South Wales people to start loving Queenslanders again. Let's capitalize on it while the tension's still there.
Yeah.
The
we gotta
hatred's gone.
play off the rivalry.
Yeah, I never thought the Queenslanders would lock us out of Queensland. Like I always thought it'd be the other way around. Like they would be our yeah.
Queenslanders, they're the ones who hate the most.
Yeah.
I grew
They
up
are
in
more passionate
Queensland.
about it than
I
we
grew
are.
up in Queensland as a New South Wales supporter.
Yeah.
In the Origin time, it's not the same as here.
Yeah.
So state of origin.
That was during 8 in a row.
So you're a Queensland supporter then when it comes to Origin. Not that I even care for football, but I'm just
No. I'm saying that I was a New South Wales supporter. I'm from Queensland.
Oh man.
I grew up in Queensland. So So I'm saying that Queenslanders hate the Blues more than New South Wales hates them.
Oh.
So that's why they locked us out.
They're a lot more passionate about it than they are because they feel they're the underdogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 in a row is not underdogs. Like, come on, guys. Like,
yeah, that's been tried and tested 8 times in a row.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're the underdogs.
Yeah. You want to start a bar fight, boys? Wear your New South Wales jerseys into a pub in Townsville on game 3.
Oh, I went and visited a mate in Townsville, and I had no idea that's a religion over there. There's this giant statue not far from his place, and it's really, really ugly, which I'm going to get attacked for. But it was of Jonathan Thurston, and it doesn't look anything like him. But all of the ads have the Cowboys in them, and it's like, whoa, okay, like this is like it's a cowboy cult. It's insane how into it they are, and like it's great, good on them. But I was like, oh my god, you just would not get this in Sydney.
No,
it's just you would not. No one's that into it in Sydney.
Yeah. Except Victorian. If you go to Melbourne, they're like they scream every. Like I went there during the AFL Grand Final, and you go through all the stations, and you feel your windows vibrating because everyone's chanting and wearing like the scarves and everything. I was like, this is insane. This is yeah.
Well, we'll give it to him. We'll give it to him at Tweed Heads. We'll
Good to hear, boys. And any other final things you want to say? You want to, I don't know, before we start to wrap this up.
We're Large Mirage. We'd like to say thanks to Frankie's, and it's really sad to hear what's happening there because they've always been great to us. It's always a great place. Everyone knows that it's out the door 5 days a week, and just condolences to Jordan, and hopefully they can find somewhere else because it's a killer place to play, and they're a killer bunch of people. So
and the fact that in its final moments, people are kind of forced to not go because of everything that's going on. It's just another kick in the gut. Which really, really sucks because it was the first place I went to when I was 18 and still love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's the first place that really not the first, but it's been the most faithful venue to us.
Yeah.
We played there more than any other venue now. And Jordan's always willing, and yeah, it's just been a really, really good springboard for us as a group, and a great place to just perfect our live act. The crowd is a hit every time. So, yeah, that is a good point.
You know where I think Frankie should move to?
Tweed heads.
Tweed heads. Yeah.
No, what's that?
I think Frankie should come to Bankstown.
I think they would actually go off in Bankstown.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Actually,
and also like I think the it becomes the cool suburb every couple of years, and it was like Newtown like ages ago, and then it moved to like Marrickville, and now it's like we're further like just move it a little bit west, and you're at Bankstown, and I think it'd go off in Bankstown. It'd be a bit, you know, you can get away with more.
But what do you have to travel for? Oh, good.
Exactly. That's what I mean, Paul. It's a 5-minute Uber for us, mate. Like maybe less. It's maybe in walking distance. Depends where they put it.
It's beer break during meal breaks, mate.
Yeah.
Imagine going out during your work break.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. I think the music scene started east.
I thought you were encouraging Paul to drink in his work break, and I thought probably not a good idea.
No. But it started in the Cross.
Yeah.
The CBD. Now Newtown.
Yeah.
It's going west.
You know, Liverpool next.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to head back towards the mountains.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, not much flies that isn't a cover band out here. Well, where I am. Yeah. Cover band or a DJ, which is the same thing. But
man. I honestly think all the arts should just move west in Sydney, just to like even go to like far as Penrith, and at least you've got space to move, and you know everything's not congested.
Yeah,
I'd like to see it happen. Anyway, 2022 is the year that Large Mirage takes off, and we get Frankie's moves to Bankstown, and what a time to be alive.
And Large Mirage goes to Tweed Heads.
Yeah, border fest at Tweed Heads.
Just before we go to Europe, we'll go to Tweed Heads.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It'd be so funny if Queensland banned somebody for doing that. Like they're like, fuck you.
Put a personal ban on the band.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, guys, it's been a lovely chat, and I will have to do it again in the future soon, and I hope to come out to one of the shows and check you guys out. Thanks to Paul's recommendation.
All good, guys. Good. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Absolutely.
I'll just say, if people are looking for us and gigs and stuff like that, Instagram's the place. Just at Large Mirage. That's the best spot for it.
Large Mirage.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.